Hey Steelers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to our Pittsburgh Steelers news and review video here on a Wednesday. And this is an interesting video to make because we do a lot of videos here looking at possible trade targets. You know, there's some rumors out about this team wanting to trade this player or that player being disgruntled. And so it's like, hey, what if the Steelers traded for them? Not based on any sort of like Pittsburgh, reportedly called the team, but Pittsburgh has a need, there's a guy available, could a trade actually happen? This is similar to those kind of videos, however, with a little bit of a twist. Today's June 1st, and you NFL nuts out there do know what that means. There are now some contracts of players in the National Football League that are more tradable right now. You get kind of a mini trade season after June 1st because some teams are waiting for contracts to, have bonuses kick in or have the incentives that say after June 1st, you save money if you trade this player. And that is not for every single player in the National Football League, but a select few. And so I've gone through and found the players in the National Football League that, one, have more tradable contracts after June 1st, two, have had some sort of rumblings, potential trades either during the draft or right now after June 1st. And three, would make sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a position of need or a position that could use some depth overall. So even though it is unlikely that I think Pittsburgh is out there, shopping for even more deals, we know all GMs in the National Football League are trying to still better their football teams. And so while unlikely, it's not impossible for these trades to go ahead and happen. So we're going to jump into some players I think that could make sense after June 1st, literally after today, to go ahead and trade for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'll start with this question, though. You guys think the Steelers are done making moves? Like, they obviously did a lot during the offseason and a lot during the draft, and so the odds of the Steelers making a ton of more moves is very unlikely, but one more move left in the tank? If you think there's one left, type Y down below for yes. If you think they're done, type N down below for no. Okay, first player on our list, we've talked about him on the channel in the past, most notably around the NFL draft, and that is the Eagles' Fletcher Cox. Now, Cox has reportedly been, in some trade stuff over the past couple of months. Philadelphia ended up not doing any of that during the draft, but there was some rumblings there. He got cut and then got re-signed on a final one-year, $14 million deal to be the Eagles' starting defensive tackle. Now, Fletcher Cox is battling it out because the Eagles drafted some internal guys like Jordan Davis, or added some guys to the internal roster like Jordan Davis, who will eventually take over his spot. So if Davis plays great in, the offseason training stuff, they could look to ship away Fletcher Cox. And listen, Pittsburgh, as you see the defensive line depth chart, they have needs. And we've talked about the interior defensive line being the one big problem, or one of the big problems, still on this defensive depth chart. Like, they need to have somebody to clog the middle. Cox is a surefire run stopper, and he at one point in his career was a really, really good pass rusher as well. That's come back a little bit, but I think he could really help out Pittsburgh and one of their big needs, and that is stopping the run. And we talked about that in the past. They were one of the worst teams in the National Football League against the run last year, and so yes, would you pay Cox a decent amount, $14 million in a one-year deal? True, but if he clogs the hole and helps against the run, he could make a lot of sense. And so obviously Philadelphia saved some money in terms of trading him, especially after June 1, and the connection to the Steelers regarding a need does make some sense. Okay, we'll get into number 2 here, another run clogger who I think could make some sense as well. First, though, we are so close to 14,000 subscribers on the channel. 13,720 is our exact number right now, less than 300 away. If you guys want to get daily Steelers videos, latest news and rumors with myself and Tom and Harrison and all the other guys at Chat Sports, go down below and be sure to subscribe. Help us grow the channel here and make it the best Steeler channel on YouTube. Another interior defensive lineman who can make some sense is Derek Wolfe. He's currently a Baltimore Raven, and so it'd be an internal trade, which, again, is very unlikely, but we talked about unlikely these players end up all being traded as well. But Wolfe is in an interesting part of his career because, obviously, the Ravens addressed the interior defensive line over the offseason, but he's 32 years old, so a little bit aging, but he missed 2022 with a back injury, and so the age plus the back injury could make for a very cheap trade that might work out in the long run for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, we know that the Steelers' run defense is a concern, and Derek Wolfe is one of the better defensive linemen against the run statistically over the past couple of years. As I said, the injury is an issue, the age is an issue, but you trade him for a 6th or a 7th round draft pick, he's on the final year of a deal that's not that expensive, and he could, again, address the run-stopping concerns that the Steelers defense has. I think they're going to be fine in pass coverage. I think they're going to be good in terms of rushing the passer. But that one fear is you play against a really good running football team, kind of like Baltimore, and they run all over you, and then that secondary doesn't get to do its thing against the pass. And so that's kind of the reason why I wanted to start the list with 2 defensive lineman players, because to me, those are the 2 big positions, or the one big position, I should say, that you could still see Pittsburgh trying to go ahead and add to in order to help out against the run. How much do you guys trust the Steelers' defensive line? Like, overall, scale of 1 to 10. Right now, as it's constructed, do you trust it more than I do? Less than I do? I'm at I trust it against the pass, but against the run, I don't know, I'm like at 6 right now. So where are you guys at on this list? Let me know down below right now. Okay, next player on our list is an offensive lineman. It's Isaac Seumalo, another Eagle. There are a lot of Eagles on this list because apparently they, according to my research, have a lot of guys that make some sense trading after June 1st from, cap and contract issues. Seumalo is a solid starting left guard, a really good left guard. It had been one of the more underrated left guards in the league the past couple of years. Injury-ridden 2022, common theme with a lot of players on this list, but I think he would give a lot of competition and maybe even some starting caliber quality play to the guard spot right now on the offensive line. Now, as it currently stands, ESPN thinks Moore will be your left tackle, then Dotson, then Cole, then Daniels, and Chooks will be there at right tackle, and you got Green as a backup moving over from center, but you could really solidify and make sure this position is 100% good to go by adding a guy like Seumalo for some depth. Now, I think he pushes Dotson to start, and that's not necessarily a hot take. I think that he could push either of the two guards to go ahead and start. Would it be too crowded? Possibly, but I definitely think Seumalo is one of the better offensive line options still left that you could trade for. That would make some sense for a Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line that has been retooled, that is better than where it was, but could go even higher with a guy like Seumalo. Okay, next player on our list who would make some sense after June 1st, again, after today, is Nelson Agholor, the wide receiver for the New England Patriots. Now, Aguilar's always been kind of a weird player overall. He flashes a lot, and then he struggles a lot. A very average 2021, 15 games, 37 catches, 473 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But he would add, again, some depth to a wide receiver core and at least some experience to what is a very young group as well. Now, you saw the report yesterday, Deontay Johnson back at OTAs, trying to get a new contract, but he will play for the Steelers in 2022. And so him and Claypool are kind of your two elder statesmen in the receiving core, which not necessarily means anything because they're still very, very young. Seumalo would instantly, or not Seumalo, sorry, Agholor would instantly be the oldest receiver and the most veteran receiver, a Super Bowl winner on this roster. Now, I don't think you necessarily need another wide receiver if George Pickens and, Calvin Austin play really well their rookie seasons, and most specifically George Pickens. But if Pickens were to struggle, you'd like to have an additional receiver on the outside who can play both in and out like Agholor to give a couple of, looks to whoever the starting quarterback is in Mitchell Trubisky or obviously and Kenny Pickett. So again, unlikely, but I think he could be a real trade candidate for someone who needs a wide receiver, especially as you get closer to training camp if you don't like your current receiver core. I like Pittsburgh's. I've said before, I think they did a good job in the draft, but if you're worried about how good these rookies can be, you could add a guy like Agholor to make some sense. Okay, final player on this list is Myles Gaskin to add some running back depth, and I think that Gaskin does make a ton of sense here just due to the fact that he, got at some decent work during his 2021 season. 173 carries, 612 yards, 3 touchdowns. Nothing insane here. You're not getting like a 1B back to Najee Harris's 1A, and Najee Harris apparently a 244 in terms of his weight. He's going to be a bruiser. That's fun to see. But I think Gaskin could be a good depth player if you don't trust a guy like Benny Snell to go ahead and be the backup. Also a good receiver out of the backfield as well. You're looking at 49 catches last year, 234 yards, 13 first downs. It definitely looked to him to be a receiver out of the backfield, and you expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to look for their running backs to catch the ball in the backfield as they always do. And so another player to go ahead and add to the list that would make sense not only from a post-June 1st cap situation for the teams that currently hold these players and the position group or the depth chart spot on the Pittsburgh Steelers that you could see adding another player in would make a lot of sense. So, will this actually happen? Will they make a trade for these players? I don't know. I said at the top, the unlikelihood is always there. But if they were to make a move, these are the 5 best that I think make the most sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What do you guys think? Pick a player from my list that you would trade for. Fletcher Cox, Derek Wolfe, maybe Isaac Seumalo, the guard, Nelson Agholor, the wide receiver, Myles Gaskin, the running back. Is there a player from my list? Let me know down below. If not, then just tell me no. Like, you're fine with the Steelers as they're currently constructed, which is fine by me, right? I'm not forcing you to trade for any of these players, okay? All right, Ultimate today on our Pittsburgh Steelers post-June 1st trade video. Follow me on Twitter. You guys follow me on Twitter. @RealThomasMott is the place to go. I tweet a ton of stuff. I mean, all sorts of NFL stuff, Steelers stuff as well. Be sure to go ahead and give me a follow @RealThomasMott for the latest Pittsburgh Steelers news and rumors. And be sure to subscribe as well. We do, so much content here. We try to get you guys daily Steeler content, whether it's news and rumors, trade speculations, trade rumors, depth chart battles, camp stuff, OTAs. We go crazy here at Chat Sports. All the guys, all the hosts on these channels are great in my opinion, not just myself. Be sure to subscribe down below as we are going to get you guys the latest Steelers stuff. That's our promise to you. Help us get to 14K subs here, maybe by the end of the week, maybe by the end of the month. Who knows? Go ahead and go down below and subscribe. Okay, Ultimate today on our Pittsburgh Steelers trade video for Chat Sports. I'm Thomas Mott. We're out of time. Signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe out there and have a great Wednesday.